Hey, this is the National Treasure, Nick Aldis, and I am recommending that you go to savewithconrad.com for all your home buying needs. Not only would I recommend Save with Conrad to friends and coworkers, I have many times already. If I know that they're house hunting, my first recommendation to them always is get in touch with Conrad. His team are the real deal, and they will be straight up with you and do everything they can to get you in the house.
NMLS number 65084, equal housing lender. Woo!
It's savewithconrad.com. Right now, Fight Plus, the ultimate digital platform for live sports and entertainment, is offering a free 7-day trial at tryfight.com. Yes, you can access Fight Plus's incredible library full of combat sports, wrestling, and other premium content absolutely free for 7 days by going to tryfight.com. And the best part, you can find them on all major streaming platforms available today. So don't waste another second. Go to tryfight.com. That's tryfite.com right now and find out why they are the undisputed champ of live sports and entertainment.
The recognized symbol of excellence in sports entertainment.
Hey, this is Kurt Angle, and welcome to the Kurt Angle Show. On the show today, we'll be discussing one of my favorite opponents of all time and watching some of my favorite matches of all time. But first, let me introduce to you my co-host, Paul Bromwell. How you doing today, Paul?
Hey, Kurt, I'm doing great. I'm really excited about this because not only are we discussing one of your favorite opponents and the matches, he's here. Our first guest
on the show.
Our first guest of the year, Ken Anderson. Ken, welcome to the Kurt Angle Show.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah,
I just want to say thanks for coming on the show. What's going on with you? Anything new?
I'm just running my wrestling school up in the Twin Cities, Minneapolis, St. Paul, and just teaching people how to fall down.
Bump properly, right?
Yeah.
Well, man, listen, it's great to have you on. And Kurt and I were talking about it. First of all, you're our first guest this year. We've had a lot of guests on in 2021, 22. You're the first guest of 2023, so welcome. Thank you for popping our 2023 cherry. Yes. And but man, yeah, we're excited about it. And we thought, we had talked about some matches that you guys had in TNA in 2010. And one of them was the ladder match for the key to the cage. And then right after that was the cage match. And so, man, we're gonna do that. We're gonna watch those matches. I'll mute and unmute as we go through those matches, but we're gonna talk about them, watch them together, and then just kind of go through some questions with you today and watch that lockdown cage match from April. Does that sound good?
That sounds great to me. That's honestly, when people ask me what my favorite match that I've been a part of, it's that match with Kurt. So,
all right.
On the ladder or cage match?
The cage match. I don't remember anything about the ladder match, which is, I don't know if you've got a really good memory, don't you? Like,
I took a really bad spill. I do remember. We'll be talking about it. Yeah, I took a really bad bump.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Was it my fault?
Probably.
No, it was my fault actually.
Oh damn.
I was hoping it was Ken's fault. That way we'd have some fun on the show. But if you guys are ready, let's dig it, because the first match will be from April 5th, right? Okay, so that was on Impact, and then we'll transition to the April 18th show in St. Charles, Missouri. So, guys, let's dig in, and we're going to make sure we pause it for those classic Mr. Anderson intros. So let's check it out.
So I got.
This is a ladder match where the winner will have to retrieve the key that will open the lock in the cage and lockdown. Introducing Introducing your first participant from Green Bay, Wisconsin, Mr. Henderson.
Every match at Lockdown in St. Louis contested in the steel cage, but when Mr. Anderson faces Kurt Angle, the only way you can win is by escaping the cage via the door. And at stake tonight in the ladder match, the key that opens the cage door, it gives the winner a huge advantage.
His opponent is from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. He is professional wrestling's only Olympic gold medalist. He is Kurt
When it comes to grudges, the rivalry between Kurt Angle and Mr. Anderson, both personal and public, Anderson incited the situation. He attacked Kurt's character, his personal life, but then he compounded it with his anti-U.S. military remarks that were especially centered on Angle's Warrior Medal.
Well, Anderson knows he's smart. He knows how to pull at the heartstrings of an opponent, get him emotional. That's a good way to beat Kurt Angle, if you can beat him.
All right, there we go. So I wanted to have Mike Tenay give us a background of what was all going on here. Talk about it though, Ken. Do you remember kind of the storyline and this whole story between you and Kurt and the match build up?
Yeah, I definitely do. And it was hard for me to say the stuff that I did about the military, and especially with I believe it was a Gold Star Mom that had given you that medal, right? Like, I remember, because I'm a veteran myself, and
I know you told me how difficult it was.
Yeah, one of the most rewarding things that I've ever done in the business is the tribute to the troops that we did in WWE. I remember my grandfather watching, like, they were my biggest fans, my grandma, grandpa, and my grandpa called me one day, and he was upset, and he was like, I invited a bunch of our friends over, all World War II vets, Korean vets, to watch my grandson wrestle. And I'll be, if I didn't see my grandson spitting on a medal and shitting on the military. And I was like, I tried explaining it to him, Grandpa, like, we tell stories of good versus evil. I love the military. I respect the military. I'm just playing a character. And like, he nodded his head like he sort of got it, but I don't think he really got it. So that was tough for me.
That is tough, especially someone that doesn't understand the business.
Yeah.
It would be so hard.
It would be like my grandparents, I love them to death, but they would always, whenever I would talk to them, my grandma would say, "So how's that wrestling going?" And I would be like, "It's good. It's really good." "Well, are they ever going to let you win? Are they, we're telling stories of good versus evil. That's, if they, in my opinion, for the most part, if they say yay when they're supposed to say yay and boo when they're supposed to boo, it's a good day at the office."
There you go.
You're doing right. Yeah, you're doing the right thing.
Yeah.
I got a question for both of you guys as we're watching this. The ladder's in and you're doing your thing. How excited? I'll start with you, Ken, and then I'll go over to you, Kurt. Are you to work with Kurt Angle though? Have this opportunity?
Kurt is on my Mount Rushmore. Like, so I was really sort of bummed out when he left, because I think Kurt was at WWE when I first got there. He was on Raw with Daivari was managing it, and then Kurt left, and I was kind of bummed out. And I was super excited when they told me at TNA that I would be paired up with him. And I just remember, Kurt, you being so giving and so like open to suggestion and being really creative. I really loved it.
Well, you know what? When the Ken came into the business in WWE, I was there, and I wasn't happy at that point in time. I was getting ready to exit the company, but watching Ken, his first two matches, I believe, were against Booker T and Rey Mysterio. Am I right, Ken?
It was like my first. So I debuted on Velocity against Funaki, and then I debuted on SmackDown versus Funaki. But Ray and Booker were very, very close to the beginning.
So,
yeah.
I knew the company was pushing the shit out of Ken. Like you knew, because the two top guys in the company did jobs for him. And I was really excited about working with him. And unfortunately, I didn't get to, because I left the company almost like a week or two after he beat Booker T and Ray. So I never got to listen. I never thought I would. And then 3 years later, he comes to TNA, and I was like, holy crap, it's a great opportunity to work with him.
Yeah, I agree 100%. And I was so happy to, like I said, I was so happy when they paired us up. And I believe it was Vince Russo, right? At the time, Vince was in charge.
Yeah.
Yes, he was. He was in charge of creative. Yeah.
Was that the bump? Was that the spill you took?
Yeah. My God, Kurt.
Is there any way we can rewind that a little bit?
Yeah, I can definitely do that. So for those of you, they're actually going to show the replay, but that's okay.
Okay. There we go.
That's okay. So Kurt's going to take, for those just listening only, which this is a great time to highly recommend the YouTube channel, because on Impact, we have a relationship with them. We can unfilter all their content. Here goes. Kurt, holy shit, bro. Your ankle gets caught in the top rope and you go down hard.
I think I got knocked out.
Oh.
Because I don't remember anything. I remember coming to, and I was back on track. But I
mean, the ref is sitting there. You look out. You're out. Oh man,
Jesus.
That was an ugly bump.
Yeah.
And that was my fault, Ken. I misjudged it, and I came down hard, really hard.
I was watching the way that you were climbing that ladder, and I'm sorry. I wish I would have come in sooner. I hate it in ladder matches when guys have to do the slow crawl.
I know.
Oh yeah.
I feel bad for you. You're doing it right here, because I'm out. I'm barely coherent, and you're like, "Holy shit, come get me!"
So you mentioned, Kurt, you're excited, obviously, to face Ken. You didn't get to in WWE. How excited, though, Ken, were you to join TNA? You exit WWE. I guess, who is it, Dixie? Who is it calls you and says, hey, we'd love to bring you in?
I think it was Terry Taylor initially. And I'll tell you, at that point in my career, in my life, I had a big chip on my shoulder from, my departure with WWE. Didn't go at the time. I felt like I pointed fingers at everybody else. It was everybody else's fault. And that chip stayed with me for a long time. So even during this period of time, I don't believe that I was fully invested in wrestling. As much as I loved working with Kurt and so many other people at TNA, I just I had a bad attitude. I really did.
You didn't show it, Ken. Not to me by any means, but I understand. Your departure in WWE wasn't a very satisfying one. I guess you're right about the way it ended up and how it happened. Same with me, Ken. I was in the same boat. I don't know if it was the same reason as you, but yeah, I was pretty bitter. I said a lot of bad stuff about WWE that I shouldn't have said, and I was pretty bitter. But looking back, it was nobody's fault but my own. I don't know how you feel about it, but I put myself in that situation, is what I'm saying.
100%. I feel the same thing. For years, I would say that. I would say those words, but deep in my head, I don't think I believed them. And I don't know, it was just in the last couple of years, I was sitting thinking about it, and I was like, I put myself in that position. If I would have just kept my nose clean and busted my ass and shut the freak up, I would have been I wouldn't have been in a position where all those things could happen, those dominoes could fall. So yeah, my fault 100%.
I know exactly how you feel, Ken.
And I also said things that almost unforgivable things, I guess.
Right. I did too, man. I was in the same.
You live and you learn, and here you go, though. You're getting a nice chance with TNA, and Terry Taylor calls, brings you in, and, oh, by the way, we're going to put you in a program with your Olympic hero, Kurt Angle. So
it happened almost immediately. I I believe Ken came in, and maybe a month or two later, we were in a program. And
yeah, it was.
So I mean, Ken was, near the top in WWE. So there was no reason to start him over again and make him go up through the ranks. He was ready. He was ready and primed to be in the main event in TNA when he came.
I was just really happy that they went with it. When I came into the company, I didn't have my contract was nowhere near what I was making at WWE. And I had to prove myself at TNA for that first year. And, working with you, I have you to thank for the next few years because, you were able to sort of like elevate me in their eyes.
Well, I think you did it for yourself, Ken. I really do. You don't. I don't think you have any idea how good of a worker you are. You understand the business. You have a great mind for it. You're great in the ring. You're incredible on the mic. You have a great look. I mean, you have every asset you need to be a successful wrestler.
Thank you, man. You don't know how much that means coming from you. So, can you tell that to my students, please?
Yeah.
I'll do a video for you, Ken.
There you go. Hey, Cameo, it's only $150, but he'll do it for you.
Oh, can I get the brother discount?
$10 off.
Yeah, there you go. Promo code Angle. There you go.
Yeah.
Oh, he's got it. He's got it. This match is about to wrap up already. That one went quick, didn't it?
Yeah, this was just a feeder match for the cage match. This was just to show the fans, a little bit of what's going to happen at the cage match.
And listen, this is just kind of a TNA thing, isn't it? Because I had never really heard of, hey, let's do a ladder match, build to a cage match. The winner gets access to a key. I mean,
how was that an advantage? Well, he gets the cage key. I don't understand.
Yeah, help me with this, guys. Who was this a Vince Russo idea? Do you guys remember?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was.
Well, no. Let me explain about the match, and I want you to understand this because I was pissed off. I don't know if Ken remembers this. Okay, it's a cage match. Okay, we're in a cage,
and we're about ready to transition into it here. Yeah,
cage is a weapon. Okay, the reason why he has the cage key is because the only way you could win is leaving the door. Okay, you couldn't climb over the cage to leave. You couldn't get a pinfall. You couldn't get a submission. So they painted us in a corner. Okay, This match should have been a failure. It should have been the worst match in the world, and it ended up being one of my greatest matches. And it's because of the way we planned it out. See, when you have a cage and you can climb up and leave the cage, that's when you do spots up at the top of the cage to make it more exciting.
Yes.
Because everybody's trying to leave. Now, what do you do when you can only leave a door? So
there's no reason to go up.
There's no reason to climb a cage anymore. So you can't use the cage as a weapon. So they painted us in a corner, so we only had one way to win, and it was to exit the door. And I thought the match was going to be shit, and it ended up being a 5-star match. It really was. I was really proud of both Ken and I structuring the match the way we did, and how successful we made the match because we were set up to fail. We really were. It was Vince Russo's idea. Vince has a lot of great ideas, but this one was
not one of them.
It was not. It was stupid, because now they're taking the cage away from us. All you could do is leave the cage. What are we going to do? Beat each other up and try to exit the door? And that's the only thing
That's the only doing. It, yeah.
It would have been boring as shit, but somehow Ken and I structured it so it was really, really good.
And it was mostly you. I'll admit,
you helped
Kurt.
Too, Ken.
That
was a team effort, man. Yeah.
And then it took both of us to go in there and execute it. But working with you, Kurt, I had never worked the way. I believe it was 3 weeks before the match. You already had a basic outline in your head, and we started going over it. And I'd never worked that way before, other than a WrestleMania match.
Right.
Where you have, usually we do it on the day. And,
sure, that day yeah.
Yep.
We're going to unpause this real quick. Sorry to interrupt, but I got to hear this. Here we go. Come on.
Ladies and gentlemen, I have the key my precious. From Green Bay, Wisconsin. Mr. Anderson. Anderson.
No.
I think Anderson should get a key.
You know what I love? You know what I love about you already is you're just like Kurt. You guys crack yourselves up when you're watching your shit. But I got to. Who helped you develop that whole thing?
That's why it's like he's doing something else.
I know.
It's like, oh my God, like I'm fucking crazy.
Who helped you come up with that?
Exactly. Like, how the fuck did I? What am I doing?
How goofy am I?
Such an idiot.
The kissing of the mic. It was great. Who helped you really though? Because it started with Kennedy, obviously, then to Anderson. Where did you come up with all that?
So I used to announce basketball games when I was in high school, and I started doing the last name twice thing for kids that went to our school. And I used to have like parents coming up to me after the games from the other team and saying like, "Hey, that's really funny. I really appreciate your announcing." And then, I leave high school, graduate high school, and I was in the business for 6 years before I got my break. And I just happened to be at OVW. Paul Heyman came in, and within like the first week or two, he told me to go out and cut the ring announcer off and do my own introduction. And I just happened to hit the last name twice thing. I kind of remembered back to my high school days, and I hit it. And I remember that night I had a 30-minute match with Brent Albright on OVW TV. OVW TV was 1 hour long. And I came back through the curtain and everybody was like, "Man, when you said your last name twice, that was awesome." Nothing about the match, just and that's when you know that you've got something that is going to work. When the boys pop for it, it's usually something that's going to work for the fans.
Don't you think it's ironic that you were doing this in high school and Paul Heyman tells you, "Hey, do it here"? It
really dawned on me just a couple weeks ago, man. Like I was like, how did that happen? I never would have, if you could go back and talk to 17-year-old me or 16-year-old me that was doing that, like I would never in a million years have thought this was going to be my ticket to the stage. Because really, like I didn't change anything about my wrestling. I said my last name twice, and 5 weeks later I was on TV.
And what's cool, I should say to me is here we go. Paul Heyman's fingerprints are on yet another superstar, or something that works. It's so cool. Kurt, I don't know where you are. You're with me on the notes or not. I'm just going to keep going with questions if that's cool with you.
Go ahead, Paul.
All right. So I thought so, but I just wanted to make sure. I'm just going to go then.
I feel like right there I got busted open. Oh, because I was like too close to the. I think I was too close to the
cage.
He was there, or it was somewhere else. Maybe not there, but which I personally like. I like to bleed a little bit sometimes. Like, I don't know. You get that sort of fight or flight. It just makes it feel more realistic.
Yes, I'm with you, man.
Especially in a cage.
Trauma into the match, definitely.
Yeah. You said it, Ken, especially in a cage, right? I mean,
you have to draw blood in the cage.
Yeah, it sort of drives me crazy when I see guys today having matches and they get slung into the cage and there's no sauce.
Yeah,
hardly a cell. Yeah,
nothing to show for it. What did you think of working with Eric Bischoff and Hulk Hogan in TNA?
I loved it. I think I have Eric and Hulk to thank for getting me into TNA in the first place and sort of opening that door. After I got fired from WWE, I went on the Hogan tour of Australia, and it was like a 5-day tour in Australia. And I just had a really good time and got to know those guys. And so I think they sort of made that bridge to TNA. So
That's cool.
I really loved working with Eric.
Australia, right? They saw you wrestle in Australia?
Yep.
Okay, so they like what they saw and they wanted you to come to TNA.
I think so. And I remember, too, I had Umaga's last match, unfortunately. And I remember that night, it was – because Eki was, like, not lazy, you know, in the sense that, like, he just – a lot of times he wanted to go out there and take it easy. And, man, let's just go out there and call it and take it easy. And that night, he pulled me aside and he was like, you know, because we both had the chip on our shoulders at that point. And he was like, look, they're going to be watching this. Let's go out there and fucking put on a show. I'm sorry. Can I swear on here?
Oh, yeah, you're good.
Okay. And we did. Like, had a great match with them. And that ended up, like I said, opening the door for TNA.
Hey, I have a quick story about ECMO.
Yeah.
First met him, I thought his name was Elmo. He was like, are you serious? I said, is your name Elmo? He goes, no, ECMO.
Oh, God, Kurt.
Here we go. Got
Speaking of color, Kurt is busted open, man.
Ken got me good.
I've talked to. Go ahead,
Kurt.
Kurt.
I'm talking about when you have experience as a worker, he's showing the camera my blood. He's making it visible, so he's holding my head up. A lot of people don't do that. You have this is a great example of what you need to do when someone's drawing blood. You have to show everybody, and that's what.
And then
on his body. That's awesome. That is
also
such a visual.
I almost grabbed you by the face, and I was, you know, in that moment, like, I don't want to wipe it off, so I switched my grip.
And Pete, you see guys do that today. John Moxley, he's one that'll take the blood and almost like a badge of honor to rub that other person's blood on the chest. So yeah, it brings the intensity to the match, the violence.
I never saw you do a leg drop, Ken.
That's because you couldn't see, Kurt. You had blood in your eyes.
Is that in your repertoire, or did you just throw that in there?
Yeah, I mean, it's something that I've kind of done here and there, but yeah, not really anything that I hit on a regular basis. Sometimes I'll watch matches and I'll be like, oh, I forgot that I do that move or could do that move.
Ken, what did you enjoy the most about your time in TNA?
Man, the locker room. It really was. It was a great locker room. Nobody was walking on eggshells. It was just so chill. Everybody was cool. Everybody went on and busted their asses every night.
No politics, nothing.
Nothing. It was awesome.
I had the fun in TNA, Ken. I really did. I had the time of my life in TNA. I mean, I did a lot of bad shit over there, but you know, as far as having fun and enjoying my work, TNA was my favorite. Yeah.
I really had a blast working there too.
It's less of a job, more fun.
Yep. Sometimes the business can really like become where you almost get to the point where, and it's crazy to say this looking back, but you're just punching a clock, you know, like, this is a job just like anything else. It shouldn't be that way. You know, this business is awesome.
You know, your ass needs to get out of it. That's basically it. Yeah.
Kurt, me and you, we joke around quite a bit about, this is a top 10 match I had with this person, but in all seriousness, where do these matches rank as far as with you and Ken?
Well, this is definitely my favorite cage match of all time. I've had probably 10 or 12, but this cage match is my favorite. I've been more proud of this match, probably because of the limitations they gave us and what we were able to accomplish in it. So as far as wrestling match, I don't put gimmick matches and wrestling matches together. I separate those. Now, if I had to put them together, this would definitely be in my top 10. But I try to separate, you know, gimmick matches and regular matches because I love having regular wrestling matches. I'm a technician. That's what I love to do. Don't get me wrong, I'll do the other, but my favorite is to wrestle.
Kurt, I don't know if you remember this or not, but we were supposed to have like 23 minutes, and on the day you came up to me and said they cut us by 10 minutes. They're cutting 10 minutes off the match, and you go, "We're going the full time." Kurt said, "Don't worry, I'll take the heat for it." And I remember at some point in the match, Slick was our rep there, and he was like, "Guys, you need to go home." And I think Kurt said, "Fuck you," or something. Tell them they can fuck off.
Oh,
and
man.
Slick just turns and looks at the backstage area like,
I love
I
it.
the only thing, and I came back.
Our time. How are you going to have a cage match in 13 minutes? Like, what
Yeah.
kind of story are you going to tell? I mean, it at least has to be 20.
And I never got an ounce of heat either. I came back to the curtain, and Kurt just said, "It was me. I made the call, and nobody fucked with me. Nobody said anything, and I don't think anybody really messed with you either." The only thing I felt bad about was I think AJ was working Ric Flair after, and they cut their time down a little bit. And I remember AJ being like really bummed out.
He was pissed at me. He didn't talk to me for a couple weeks.
Yeah.
And I don't blame him. I mean, I did steal time from him, but we needed that time. We really did. There was no reason to get
I
the
love
10
it.
minutes out of a freaking cage match. That's nearly impossible.
Here's another thing too. Here's another story.
Oh, this is good.
Kurt wanted to do the moonsault off the top of the cage, and he, in the beginning, without even running it by, just said, "I'm going to do the moonsault off the top, and we're not going to tell him about it." And then
They didn't want me to do it, Ken, because they didn't want me to get hurt. And I was going to take time off after this match. So I was like, fuck it. If I get hurt, I get hurt. I'll heal up in 6 months. So I was going to throw everything into this match because I was taking a break afterward.
good back and forth here, man.
Man, you guys are
I
really
love
going
stuff
at
like
it.
this.
Yeah.
I think that was a miscue on my
I was
part.
going to say, holy shit, he clubbed you.
That was a miscue. I was a little knocked loopy there. If you just saw the way that I ran the ropes, I was like really high. I remember I was kind of knocked silly for a minute.
Oh, I hit you hard, man.
But it wasn't your fault. It was just like,
yeah, that wasn't a clean bump either, man. That means you didn't expect it.
yeah.
We want to pause this episode of the Kurt Angle Show to tell you about Kurt and I's new favorite app, and it's Game Time. It's the place to go for tickets to all things sports, comedy shows, concerts, wrestling, you name it, Game Time has it. Especially those last-second tickets when you're on the fence but just not sure. And I'm telling you, if you can find tickets cheaper on another site, Game Time's going to credit you 110% back. They even have event cancellation protection. So if your favorite performer decides to cancel, they have protection for you in that event. They also have a 24-hour return guarantee. I'm telling you, I've had some terrible experiences with all the other ticket apps out there, not with Game Time. They even provide job loss assurance. No one else has that. If you prove proof of job loss, they're going to refund your tickets. I don't know that it gets any more fan-friendly than that. So snag the tickets now without the stress with Game Time. You can download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code ANGLE for $20 off your first purchase. That's right, terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code ANGLE for $20 off. Download it today. Last minute tickets. Remember, lowest price and it's guaranteed. So many great events. You can take advantage of it now. Whether you're a fan of the NFL, wrestling, music, it doesn't matter. As I said, Game Time has it all. You can see awesome pictures of the seats, look at the sections, and they are so fan friendly. There's no mistake about it. Game Time is the app for you. So check it out now. Create an account, use code ANGLE, and $20 off your first purchase. Ken, did you think TNA would ever really challenge WWE for the top spot, or did you think, hey, we have a good alternative company here? Like, what were your thoughts around all that?
I always think there's a possibility, right? It's like somebody at some point is going to do it, I feel. But I don't know. I wasn't sure. I was certainly in the camp that let's give it our all and bust our asses. And I think that was what was so cool about working there in the locker room, because everybody had that mentality of like, let's fucking do this.
No,
it was like a common goal.
Yeah, and Ken was exactly right. That everybody wanted the show to succeed. Now, me, I was more realistic. I thought we were special to begin with. I thought an alternative company would be the right move. I just didn't think we'd ever be able to beat WWE. And don't get me wrong, we got Hulk Hogan in, and then Ric Flair, Mr. Anderson. All these guys were coming in. We were really making a run for it, but we just didn't have the money. Okay, like Eric Bischoff wanted to do all these house shows, and then we book all these events. We have to pay the arenas. And we're making the money back. So the money was going because we were trying to compete with WWE. We should have went at our own pace, at least for a few more years.
What is your thought on that, Ken? Like, are there some things that you would have done differently?
I feel like the difference was the marketing. You know, WWE is so good at marketing. It's just a huge machine. And TNA was like, hey, guys, make sure you put this on your Twitter and your Facebook and stuff like that, you know? It's like, that was the only, we would go into towns. I remember we would go into towns and go to the gym, and people would be like, what are you guys doing here? And we got a show like 5 minutes down the road. Nobody had a clue. And that happened pretty regularly.
Yeah, not a lot of advertisement.
I remember one time. What's that? I'm sorry.
No, go ahead, Ken.
I remember one time working at a baseball stadium in Baltimore, and I think we drew, I'm not kidding here, 162 paid that night. And they were scattered too. And I think they set the ring up on the pitcher's mound. So we were way, way far away from the stands.
Far away. I remember that.
And and you had like Kurt, me, Jeff Hardy on the show. Like there was Ric Flair was on the show. It was nuts. And I remember that night, Ring of Honor ran just down the road and packed out like an 800 to 1,000 seat building.
Nobody knew we were there.
Something's off there. Then that makes no sense.
Yeah,
I remember money on renting out arenas instead of marketing, and doing less house shows and trying to market and have strong shows before you start multiplying them.
Yeah, I always felt like we should have run those smaller venues and get 1,000 people, and you know the atmosphere is just so good in those.
Yes.
Those
way better than having a 15,000 seat arena with only 1,000 people in it. Yeah.
Yep.
And you're not sure if they were like working like snacks or actually people attending the show. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. How many of those were comp?
Yeah. Right. Exactly. You guys came to Reading, Pennsylvania. That's where I live. And in 2011, it's when you were the champ and you had Jeff Hardy's belt. And you headlined the show that night, and I did the gimmick where Don West was selling, after the show, you can come into the ring and take your picture with the champion. And
really?
I was one of those guys that got in the ring with you and the Jeff Hardy title and got my picture with you. Oh, man.
I remember doing those all the time at the end of shows. And one time, one of the security guys, Ronnie, came up to me, and he was like, hey, check this out. And it was like a little bullet, like a 223 round. And it was fashioned into like a blade. It had a knife in it. And he was like, I just pulled this off somebody that was trying to get in the ring to sign with you. He said, I saw the guy with this I saw like something metal sticking out of his hand. And I said, hey, what's in your hand? And he said, nothing. And then he grabbed him and said, what's in your hand? And he opened it up and he was like, what were you going to do with this? And he's like, I was going to have him sign it.
No way. Holy shit, dude.
I either came that close to dying or he was actually going to have me sign this little thing.
For a $20 picture in the ring with the belt, you could have died.
This thing right here, I don't know how I didn't die. And I
wanted to say something, Ken, real quick.
Yeah.
The reason why we're climbing now is because I locked the door to trap Ken. I pretended to throw the key away in the crowd. I kept it.
Yeah.
But now Ken doesn't think he can leave the door. So he starts climbing a cage. That was the next level of our match.
I got you.
Since we weren't able to climb the cage because we had to leave the door, that was the only way to win. By doing this and throwing the key away, Ken just wanted to get out of the ring. So now we could start climbing the cage and using the cage. This was brilliant. Yeah. This was Ken and our masterminds coming together and making this whole thing work. Make it make sense out of it.
Guys, listen, if you haven't watched this match, you need to watch it, okay? Because I forgot how good this is. You guys are tearing it down.
It's tremendous. It really is. I'm really proud of this match.
Yeah, me too. Like I said, it's when people ask me, it's my favorite match that I've ever been a part of. And there are still things in it that I hate that I did. I've never watched a match of mine from beginning to end and said, "Oh, that was perfect." You know, there's always something. But
look at the crowd.
I'm pretty self-critical too, Ken.
What like is there one or two things you'd be like, man, I would have done this, like you can think of right away in this match that you would have probably done?
There's a part coming up where I give him the double bird. I'm on my knees, and just the way that I did it, I would have sold it differently.
Okay,
I would have still done it, but like I don't know. You'll
just
see
your mannerisms or your facials or something would have been different.
Like I should have been like loopy and dizzy and still,
look at Kurt. Here he goes.
Oh, I got
there it is right here.
Talking about.
We're gonna see it. So that's.
I actually landed too. It's crazy.
You're insane, Bo.
And he didn't touch me. He didn't touch me.
I landed on your head though.
You look like you did.
But it literally it touched me. Like just
like a feather.
So he just kissed me gently on the forehead. Afterwards, I remember D'Lo coming up. He pulled me aside and he was like, "Did you know he was going to do that moonsault?" And I said, "Nope."
Look,
and he just looked at me and he squinted his eyes a little bit. I'm like, okay.
Kurt, is that just one of those moves you go up and you just don't stop? You just keep climbing and you just go right into it.
Go. I hate doing it. I hated doing it. I probably missed at least 1,000 times and only hit it twice. It was always a missed move for me.
You've actually hit it?
I had the key.
He got the key.
Never threw it away.
Uh-oh, here comes the gates. Slick Johnson told you 20 minutes ago to go home in 5 minutes, and you're.
I love this part right here. Like he's gonna leave.
This is what he's talking
right here. This one.
The double word. I love them blurring it out now.
I love they blur it out like, we don't know what that is now.
Yeah. We didn't think you were doing hand puppets.
God, I think that was awesome.
Oh.
What a heel thing, huh? I'm a dumbass for coming back in the ring.
Yeah, right.
Hey, I got to ask you, while we just saw the double bird, there's been a lot of talk, Ken, online or wherever, that the TNA tried to kind of make you into their version of Stone Cold. Did you get that feeling?
I did. I was told that.
Okay.
Not exactly those words, but.
Too. Yeah. He was going to be our Stone Cold Steve Austin.
I remember one time there was a wedding, I believe. I think it was EY and ODB were getting married, and they had us all show up in like tuxedos. And Vince Russo got me to wear like a camouflage tuxedo, and it was, so bad. It was the worst thing ever.
The ankle lock.
That was great how he caught me.
Yeah, everything about this match was so well planned.
And then Slick, nope, you can't tap.
Nope, you can't win that way.
How good is Slick?
But we get it, which is great.
Yeah, Slick's a good referee, and he's into it
really
too.
Is. Yeah.
Yeah, but one thing about Slick, he always wants to look good. He's got to look good. Sometimes he looks better than the wrestlers.
Yeah.
That he is big for a referee.
Yeah, he is. He's got a good build on him. Yeah.
The cage door's broken, and here comes Mr. Anderson.
And to continue the story with the Warrior tag, we use this quite a bit. The whole match was revolved around this tag. This
Warrior necklace.
And we were able to utilize it. This match was so good. Told an incredible story.
I remember we had a lumberjack match, and it was all these like military guys that had no experience in the business, and every time you'd pitch me out, or I think you'd pitch me out to them, they beat the living shit out of me for real.
You told me. They were beating the hell out of Ken. He'd come in the ring. He's like, "Don't throw me out again."
This right here, Kurt, coming up. You stomped my dick so hard.
Oh, wow. Oh,
damn. And the thing is like, I'm supposed to be knocked out, so I couldn't sell it. I had to like just lay there still.
And right now his dick and balls are throbbing thanks to you.
Yeah.
Oh, Ken, I'm so sorry about that.
No, afterwards we got through the curtain and he's like, "Oh, I'm really sorry. I just felt it. I felt it needed that at that moment, and it was all good."
I felt like I needed to kick you in the junk after that.
Sometimes wrestling hurts.
Oh, man.
And there it is. One more time, the moonsault. It felt like a
feather.
Like a feather. There you go. Oh, Kurt, all shredded and bloody. I mean, that just looks like it was an awesome wrestling match if you didn't even see it.
You know what? The best feeling in the world is when you get done and you know you had a good one. It's like the rest of your night, you just feel like carefree and just you love life. It's like, a worker, a wrestler, when they have a great match like that, that's what life is all about to them, to us. Yeah.
It's like heroin addicts say that they're always chasing that that first high feeling that they had. I feel, and they call it chasing the dragon. And I feel like that's wrestling. It's like you're chasing after those kinds of moments.
And it gets addictive, man. It really does.
It really is.
Hey guys, Eric Bischoff here, and just want to call a quick timeout. I want to tell your listeners about what I've been telling everybody at Over at 83 Weeks, quite a while now, about all the cool things that are happening over at adfreeshows.com.
An all-new edition of The Insiders is here, as Conrad welcomes David Zaadi, the man behind so many iconic video packages WWF fans grew up on, including one that left Vince in tears.
You got it. And Conrad, I swear, I walked outside the studio, and Vince was sitting down on the concrete floor, crying hysterically, just saying, "Thank you. Thank you.
Wow.
Thank you." I went up to the whole cabin. He says, "Good job. Can't wait to see it." 15 minutes later in the stairwell, Vince is still sitting down in a different spot now, crying, saying, "Thank you. Thank you."
Jim Johnston created the soundtrack for generations of WWE fans, with some of the most iconic themes in history. Jim sits down with Conrad to take us behind some of those classic themes, including The Ultimate Warrior.
And then I recorded that. And then just over that, you're just doing. It's so simple, but that's what felt like him.
That's just a small taste of what we've got waiting for you with 4 levels to choose from. See for yourself why ad-free shows is the best value in wrestling today. Sign up now at adfreeshows.com.
So, Ken, real quick, and Kurt, I'll check with you. I have a few final questions to ask. Do you want me to roll with them, or you lost still with the notes? Do you want me to roll with the last few questions?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. We'll wrap up here, you Ken, in a few minutes. I have a few questions. Are you surprised that the WWE still hasn't invited you back? And if they have, what was the offer?
No, I'm not. I'm not surprised. Like we talked about earlier, like I said some really shitty things on the way out the door, and I completely get it. I would like to eventually, be able to go back there and finish it out, but I completely understand if that doesn't happen. Like I did it to myself, And I was asked a few years ago, and it wasn't official, but I was asked by Daivari, "Hey, your name came up for a Royal Rumble. Would you be interested?" And I wasn't. I was just I was completely out of shape, and I turned it down. But I mean, it wasn't like an official ask anyways. Right. I just said, no, I'm not interested.
Ken, listen, people have said and done worse. and they have been brought back. Don't ever think it's impossible. It really is possible. As long as wrestling is good and you keep those clean. Hey, they brought me back, and I said a lot of bad stuff about them. And look at Hulk Hogan and people that turned on the company, and Kevin Nash and the whole the Clique. They came back, and there's nothing that is not irreparable. You'll be able to. Eventually, they will bring you back, Ken. It's just going to happen. Look what they did with. I heard CM Punk's talking to him now. He sued the company and won. Wow.
Well, he may have been. He tried to, but I think he's finally made his peace with AEW. So,
or is he back in AEW?
Yeah, they're about to announce after this show. I think the announcement's next week, a second show, and everybody's saying he'll be the face of that. So more to come there. But anyway, Ken, hey man, listen, when we're talking about you being back, I think everybody listening to this would love to see you make another appearance with the WWE.
I would love to see you back in the WWE. I really believe it's going to happen, Ken.
Yeah.
As long as you keep your body in shape and you're wrestling sharp, they'll bring you back. You're too valuable. Too much of an asset.
Yeah. Thank you.
Let's talk about something a little bit more on the brighter side, if you will, and that is what was the peak for you? Do you think personally, in terms of what's been your proudest moment in wrestling?
I would say that what we just watched. Okay. Winning the Money in the Bank briefcase at WrestleMania was a cool moment, and as I stated earlier, doing the tribute to the troops and visiting hospitals for wounded warriors and visiting kids and stuff like that. I'm so fortunate to have done those things, and it's because of the business.
That's what got you there. You're right.
Yeah.
You talked about when you started the show about your wrestling school. We were hoping that you could share a little bit more about that on the show, promote it a little bit, and how can interested people that are looking to get into the business find it.
Yeah. We've been open now since 2016. We took some time off for the pandemic, but I've been training people. We have, 25 graduates now. So we've trained hundreds of people, but not everybody graduates because I'm very particular. At the end of the day, it's my opinion, right? It's very subjective, but these are people who I feel get it, understand it, can be booked by a promoter, any promoter, anywhere, and that promoter will want to have them back. But we train everybody. Like, I'll give everybody an opportunity. Some people think that that's I shouldn't do that. I'm allowing too many people to peel back the curtain, but I figure that there are so many. If you love this business, there is something that you can do to assist, whether it's being a wrestler, being a referee, a manager, becoming a promoter, working backstage, being a writer. And so I just try to teach people the art of storytelling and how to do things safely and how to not be a dick. Like my number one rule is safety because it has to be. But my number 2 rule is don't be a dick. So
DBD, don't be a dick.
But
you actually are a dick.
I'm an asshole.
That's why he's trying to teach people the opposite way. Speaking of teaching people, Ken, is it true that you trained Tiffany Stratton?
I did. Yeah. For the first 6 months he started. There's a couple other people in WWE too. Von Wagner.
Okay.
He started here.
Who made it to WWE?
Von Wagner, Javier Bernal. I'm trying to think here. There's a couple. And then in the AEW, it's Dante and Darius Martin. Darius Martin was our first graduate, actually, at the Academy.
Very nice.
Dante Martin, Julia Hart.
Yes, she just wrestled on Dynamite.
Yep, and Gable Stevenson. So Gable's been.
Well, there you go, Kurt.
Yep, my buddy, Gable.
He's really taking to it.
You know what? He's an athletic son of a gun too.
Really is. And he's one of those guys. I remember, we get up and turn to the left or turn to the right. And he took his first bump, and I had told him, like, get up this way. And he got up the wrong way. And before I even said anything, he just went, oh, and he reversed himself back down, and he did it almost perfectly the first time. So he's just people will often say that Kurt took to the business like nobody they had ever seen before. That he just got it immediately, and you got not only the athletic side of things, but you got the showmanship, the storytelling, the character stuff. And I really feel like he's on that path. He can do great things.
Yeah, I expect him to. He had such an incredible career, and I mean, heck, he's only 22 years old.
He's really young. Yeah. He's very young, but he's already a man. He's very young, but like when I'm talking to him, he seems like you're talking to an old soul, like he's in his 30s. He just gets it. Yeah, very.
Well, Ken, man, listen, this was an honor for me to be able to conversate with you and have you on the show. I can't thank you enough for being with us this week. Had a lot of fun watching your matches with Kurt. Appreciate it, man.
Yeah, Ken,
I really appreciate
you coming on, man. I love you. And I wish you the best of luck with your wrestling school and the rest of your career.
I love you too, man. I love you too. And thank you for having me on. Could I just make one more plug for the school?
Whatever you want.
If anybody would like to be a pro wrestler and you live in this area in the Twin Cities, you can text me at 507-722-2776. That comes right to my phone. You'll talk to me or my wife, and we'll get set up. And also, like, I want to help people get set up. So even if you don't live in the Twin Cities area, if you're in California or you're in New York, I know of some good schools out there. I'd rather point you in the right direction to go to one of those schools and get trained the right way. So give me a text.
I love it. I love it. Ken Anderson, thank you so much for being with us on the Kurt Angle Show. Kurt, what a first guest for 2023, bud.
He was awesome, man. We have a winner.
Yeah, that's right. Thank you, Ken. Have a great day, man.
Love you, brother.
Love you, man. Love you too.
All right.
Thanks.
Take care. Kurt, there you go, man. Ken Anderson. What'd you think?
Oh, he's incredible. He's not just a great wrestler. He's very articulate, very clever, very smart, cunning. I really love him. I've always gotten along with him. And like he said, he's never had an attitude he did have a chip on his shoulder when he left the WWE, and I understand because I had that too. But I'm pretty humble as an individual, as a human being. I like to think I am.
When you say that sounds really humble. I'm kidding. I know you are, Kurt.
Ken is the same way, and I love his humbleness. Yeah.
He just working with him, like bringing him on the show, all the background emails and conversations and texts that have to happen. You could just tell you're dealing with a good guy all around.
Yeah, he was prepared. He didn't give you any problems.
Just a great guy.
For you. Yeah, he is a good guy.
Well, listen, speaking of great, I don't know how great this is going to sound to you, Kurt, but next week it's Judgment Day 2005 when you're put in that infamous storyline with Booker T and Sharmell. Isn't that great?
The worst storyline I've ever been a part of. Yes.
We're going to have a lot of fun with that one.
Get out of that one.
We are going to have a lot of fun. I might even do my Vince impersonation. I don't know. But hey, listen, guys, we're going to have some fun with that one. It's one of our most requested topics and one of Kurt's least favorite topics. So I'm going to have a good time with that. But this was a great show. By the way, I want to remind you, this is a perfect opportunity for all of Kurt's past top Impact moments, just like the ones we watched. If you sign up at impactwrestling.com/packages and sign up with code Kurt, I mean, those are easy letters to remember. That's KURT. Kurt, you've been spelling that on paper since you were 4 years old. You will do us a big favor in terms of signing up with Impact. So go ahead, impactwrestling.com/packages and sign up with code Kurt. And you get to watch where Kurt predominantly spent his professional wrestling career. Right, Kurt?
Yes, TNA, 11 years.
There you go.
WWE was 9.
There you go. So listen, If your business targets 25 to 54-year-old men, you can also advertise with us. That's who our demographic is right here on the Kurt Angle Show. We've done ads for multiple businesses and companies, and we have a super targeted audience. So listen, go to advertisewithangle.com right now. You'll find out more about how you can advertise right here on the Kurt Angle Show and hear your Olympic hero talk about your product and service. So check it out, advertisewithangle.com. Also, before we get out of here this week, you know we love it. We're a part of it. It's ad-free shows starting early and ad-free, just $9 a month. And you can enjoy the first week free on us. And check out what everybody's talking about when it comes to ad-free shows. Lots of great wrestling content over there. We've put over our boy before, Dom D'Angelo. I'm going to put him over again. He's doing a lot of bonus work over there. He takes care of our show constantly, Kurt. He's hooking up the YouTube page and all kinds of good stuff. But so many others working hard over there on ad-free shows. Check it out. We do live experiences and things of that nature. So make sure you're a part of that growing community. And then follow us on social. Our Twitter handles, Instagram. Listen, Instagram, I have so much fun following your Olympic hero. Whether he's going out for dinner at Buca di Beppo and, you know, having every appetizer and pasta dinner and dessert. I mean, you know, you just had your daughter's communion dinner out there, Kurt. And
Yes, we did. Yes,
you took
we
this
did.
on the tour of your table. And yes, I saw it. And you guys, you in particular, you ate like a pig. Okay. I know what you did. All right. You can't hide it. And man, it looked great. So check him out on social media. Kurt's Instagram is @RealKurtAngle. You can check us out at The Angle Pod. YouTube, like, subscribe, and turn on those notifications. YouTube.com/The Angle Pod. Kurt, we can't get out of here without you rotating that chair and grabbing those bag of chicken snacks, brother. Tell us about them.
I got chicken snacks and Snack Smart Crispy Protein Bites. One's chicken protein, one's organic plant protein. Go to physicallyfit.com to order yours. There are 11 different flavors. They're all incredible. You absolutely love them. Some of them are Kung Po, Sriracha, Sweet Barbecue,
Pizza,
Cinnamon Swirl, Cheese Pizza,
Buffalo
so many
Wing
great flavors. And that's high protein, low carbohydrate. You're absolutely going to love them. I use this in my diet every day, and it keeps me in great shape. I really love these. Go to physicallyfit.com to order yours.
Kurt, you want to talk a little bit about cookies and cream? Because it's still going.
Yes. Project One Nutrition. I made a deal with them, and I'm doing their protein. It's called American Dream Cookies and Cream Protein. You can go to my Instagram page. There's a link on my Instagram page, Project One Nutrition /Kurt Angle. You can go there and you can order the commemorative box, which is a collector's item for any fan that wants the box with the
shaker,
whey proteins in it. There's a Kurt Angle shaker, Kurt Angle t-shirt, Kurt Angle stickers, and then the first 500 customers gets a free autographed photo. So go to the link on my Instagram page, tap on that. You can order that, or you can go to project1nutrition.com and order the protein directly from there. And also by the end of June, my protein will be in every GNC in the world. So you might want to look out for that. It's coming soon.
GNC, we all know where the GNCs are. Now, do some of us go to them like we should? Probably not. I'm one of those people. But if you do, you're going to be able to find Kurt Angle's face right there on product. How cool is that, man? I'm stoked for you, dude. Congratulations.
Kurt Angle Cookies and Cream American Dream Protein.
Wow.
It's so good.
That's a mouthful, but he's got it down pat. You can tell he's been practicing. I love it. Finally, KurtAngleBrand.com. That's where you're going to find those cameos, those birthday cards, T-shirts, all the other gimmicks that Kurt has for sale.
Milk hats, autographed photos,
milk cartons.
Yep,
whatever
whatever
he can put his name on, it's out there at KurtAngleBrand.com.
Go to my website, KurtAngleBrand.com,
for the
order whatever you want. I'll send it to you.
For the Kurt Angle lover in your life, go to KurtAngleBrand.com. Buddy, I had a blast, man. Another fun week. All right. Well, listen, on behalf of your Olympic hero, Kurt Angle, this is Paul Bromwell, and we'll see you right here next week when we talk all things Sharmell, Booker T, and Kurt Angle. Judgment Day 2005, right here on The Kurt Angle Show.